Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
So this is our monthly foreclosure video that we do. Now, the reason why it looks like it's old data, it's not really old data. It just takes a while for the data to actually get to us. Mm-hmm. It goes through, the data goes to March. Last video we did, we only had the data up to February. So we're going to start with the notice of default activity. Mm-hmm. This is for Clark County. This is for Vegas. This is that leading indicator of like the foreclosures and all that. As you can see, in March, we had 228 total NODs for the entire month. The two previous...
So these are notice of defaults?
Notice of defaults.
Right.
This is they missed a couple payments, mm-hmm. and an NOD was filed. This is not foreclosure.
Correct.
This is not they're foreclosed.
So a couple hundred in a whole month,
Okay, we had 144 in January, 174 in February, 228 in March. Juana, 228 in a month. How's that compare to 2009? How many did we have a day? It was easier to do day because the month it would have been a ridiculous number.
That sounded like a normal day.
Yeah, it was probably more than that. It was at least 300 to 600.
Yeah,
most days it was 300 to 600.
Yeah, most days about at least 300. So that's what I said. This was a regular day, or maybe even a slow day.
Yeah, and there were 228. So Juana, let's talk about this. They get an NOD filed, mm-hmm. and then what happens 90 days after an NOD?
So after 90 days, they do a notice of trustee sale.
Okay, let's do the notice of trustee sale. Now, these are the numbers for March. Now, remember, these March numbers were February or December NODs or mm-hmm. before. Okay, mm-hmm. So the March, the numbers we just saw, that number is, so what was that, 220 something, right?
228, I think.
228. So that in 3 months mm-hmm. will be this number minus people who either sold the house mm-hmm. or made up their mortgage, whatever, right?
Right.
Okay. So the second step, when you get closer to foreclosure, this is the next one. And you can see here the number is actually only 110 notice mm-hmm. of trustees filed on March. You had 126 filed in January and 103 filed in February. So 110, this was... most days there were more than this.
Right.
Previously, the last housing crash. March, 110.
Right. So that means that more than half the people made good, whatever that means. Whether they got current, made some sort of arrangements with the lender, sold the property, whatever happened, but that situation was somehow ameliorated.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have the trustee deed. 28 days mm-hmm. after the notice of trustee sale, they do the trustee. Mm-hmm. It's 28 because 28 is 7 times 4. Mm-hmm. And why is it 7 times 4? What's significant about number 7?
Because it's 7 days a week and it has to be on a weekday.
Yeah, so they can't, say it was the 30-day thing and they filed it on a Friday and then 30 days later is a Sunday, mm-hmm. right? So what they do is they have certain days that they're open like Monday through Friday, not counting holidays. So mm-hmm. they won't do a notice of trustee sale. Well, they can do a notice of trustee sale on a Monday, but it has to be at least 28 days mm-hmm. before they can file the notice of the trustee deed, mm-hmm. where they can have the sale. So they, in theory, could do it like 31 or 30 days, mm-hmm. but they can't do it. But it's 28 days is statutory. But that's the reason why they mm-hmm. want to give them. They want to be able to have them do it on a weekday, and exactly 4 weeks later, mm-hmm. do it on a weekday. 42, it is the highest we have seen in a year. 42 trustee deeds a month. That is basically 1/10,000th of the number of homes in Las Vegas, in the whole metro Clark County. It's mm-hmm. 1 in 10,000 homes. Mm-hmm. So that means that every month, 1 in 10,000 homes is having a trustee deed. Mm-hmm. So probably in your huge neighborhood, wherever you live, there isn't one.
Right.
Even if you're in a master plan, there might not even be one. Mm-hmm. If you're in Summerlin, there might be like 2 in there. Mm-hmm. And that's 35 square miles.
Right.
So these numbers, yes, that it's going up a little, but that's noise, that's not signal.
Right.
Right?
Right. So, we've said this before, these happen for a lot of reasons. Most of the time it's something that isn't necessarily related to the value of the property, because if it was the value of the property is, generally speaking, sufficient to cover all the debt. So if they just put the property on the market, they go ahead and sell it, cover the debt, and then they wouldn't end up here. Okay,
so we're going to role play. Wanda doesn't know we're going to do this. We're going to role play a situation, okay?
Okay.
We're homeowners.
Okay.
Okay, we just bought a house. We bought a house in 2018. We'll say we bought a house in 2018. Okay. bought a house in 2018, and we got a notice of default. They posted on our front door because we blew off. We just decided not to stop paying our mortgage 3 months ago. So we're 3 months behind in our mortgage. Okay, bought the house in 2018. Okay, well, we got a notice of default. It looks like we're going to get foreclosed because we're 3 months behind in our mortgage. And I lost my job at Bob's Car Wash. So I think we should just move all our stuff and just go somewhere and let the house go back to the bank and get foreclosed, right? What do you think about that?
Well, I think we should go ahead and list our house for sale, and we'll go ahead and make some money and maybe, move into a nicer apartment.
Well, but I don't have 3 months of, we owe like $6,000 of back rent. I don't have $6,000. Like, how am I going to get $6,000?
Bob down the street just sold his house for a whole lot more than what we owe on our house, and he sold it in 2 days. We can make this happen.
Wait, so we can, hold on, think about this. We can sell the house, even though we're behind on the mortgage payment. And you're saying the house is worth more than we paid for it? Because we paid like $230 for this house.
Right, so it's worth more than what we paid for it. It's worth more than what it's going to cost us to sell it, and we'll still walk away with money. And, I've been meaning to go on that vacation. We can even do that too.
Oh, wow. So we can sell, so even though we're behind on our mortgage.
Yes.
We can sell the house.
Yes.
Because, it's funny because I went on Zillow and it said the house was worth like $400,000.
Yes.
And I think we would pay our loans like $230.
Right.
So we could sell it and we could actually pocket the difference, even though we're behind on the mortgage.
Yeah. And
so is there any reason, why would we even get foreclosed now that I think about it?
Well, we shouldn't, because, if Bob can get his house sold, we can certainly get our house sold.
Okay. So do you guys get the kind of ridiculousness of what we just did with our role play here? There's no reason, with home prices what they are, I don't care how long it's been since you've made your mortgage payment. Chances are if you got foreclosed, it's because there was a divorce and the people just said, forget it, I'm out of here. And they left and they probably haven't made their payment in a long time. Or maybe there was a death. Somebody died. It happens. People move, they die, the mortgage never gets paid, and heirs or relatives don't realize they bought a house, or maybe they just didn't have a lot of relatives. And if you're not close to your relative, you don't call them every year. So you could have a relative pass away and you wouldn't even know it, maybe. And then so the stuff getting foreclosed, like 42 a month is effectively zero. It's less than 2 a day. Right. It's nothing. So the notice of default, that needs to be at like $3,000 a month before we even start to worry. Because remember, there's 3,000 NODs, half those go away. Then there's 1,500 notice of trustee sales. Then there's maybe 700 to 800 trustee sales, which is still less than 1 in 1,000 homes. It's not a significant. It's not like what was happening before. On a normal day, we would go to the trustee sale and there were 60 homes being auctioned off. And then 100% of those homes hit the market because they either went right back to the bank and then the bank listed them with an agent, or someone bought them and then either put a tenant in them or just flipped them and put them right into the MLS. They all, but effectively they all came into the MLS, and that's literally, it's not happening now.
Right. And it'd be interesting to see who is purchasing these at the trustee sale.
And if somebody ever says to you, but I heard from somebody that there's all these foreclosures waiting to happen, the banks are holding on to them. Well, remember, the banks can't just foreclose. They have to go through this public process. They have to file all this stuff. So you get to see all this. It's not like the bank can foreclose and sit on the house and hang on to it. Well, we foreclosed 2 years ago because for the last 3 years, we haven't seen any foreclosures. Now, there was, back in 2020, 5 million homes that were behind on the mortgage in forbearance.
Right.
But those have been resolved. Now it's like 1.6 million, which is a normal number. It's like the normal number for historically.
Right. And remember, there are lots of institutional ways to handle that. And most of the time, those things tend to get resolved, whether it's through doing some sort of a mortgage modification, or whatever arrangements are made, because the lender doesn't really want to go through the foreclosure process for a lot of reasons. One, because it's costly. Two, because it's bad optics. They certainly don't want that. The people who live there don't want to go through a foreclosure process either, because it's stressful, and they're going to have to live somewhere anyway, so they may as well try to make whatever arrangements they can with the lender to make it all good and continue making payments and stay in the house.
One other thing about this data that we didn't mention, when it says trustee deeds and it has a little star on there, it says may include HOA trustee deeds.
Right.
That is not a foreclosure that is they didn't make their HOA payment, they got behind, and the HOA foreclosed. Yeah, technically it's a foreclosure, but it's not a mortgage foreclosure. And these happen because people just get in a fight with their HOA and say, forget it, I'm not going to pay the HOA. So there are a few of those, but this thing where people aren't paying their mortgage or whatever, that's not happening. So if anybody says, hey, there's all these foreclosures coming, it's bullshit. It is. They're not coming. There's no foreclosures. They're not out there. It's not like there's this magical, like that's a panacea for the housing market's going to crash. There's these foreclosures. The bank's got them and they're secret. Nobody knows about them. What? You're kidding me. So you're telling me the bank is holding on to all these properties and they're not letting them going in the housing market. When the housing sales are at an all-time high, they could just get all their money back and more, right? And they would get all their money back and more, but they're holding on to them for some reason. Why would they do that? They would want to be the first one to sell the house and get it out there and get their money back out of it. There is no such thing as all these houses that are getting ready to be foreclosed. They don't exist. They literally don't exist.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we make sure you subscribe because we do this every month and you can just watch all these numbers. We get them from, these came from, I think, Chicago Title, Lawyers Title. We get them from the title company. We got these from Chicago Title. This is great information. This is accurate, like exactly. There were 110 trustees notice of trustee sales filed, and you can see here that only really 40% maybe, less than 40% go from a trustee sale to actual sale because they get resolved. Some investor comes in and says, "Look, I'll just buy the house, and we'll just pay off the loan and we'll get out of here," or they just borrow some money and make up the mortgage payment and they're good to go again.
Right.
So that's, when you hear the market's going to crash because of all the foreclosures, just laugh and go, okay, whatever. I heard there's 1 million foreclosures coming. Sure there are. Okay, fine, whatever, because they're not there. We haven't seen them.
Right.
And we know this. This is our business. Like this is literally what we did for the last 15 years. Every day we were looking at trustee sale numbers and notice of defaults because they were like, yes, these are future listings. These are the banks. We would go to the trustee sale and the bank would take it back and people would be like, oh, I didn't get the house. They'd be like, yeah, I got the house. Well, how'd you get the house? Well, Bank of America. Okay, but I'm a listing agent for Bank of America. So tomorrow I'm going to get an email saying I got this listing. It's a new listing, Oh, it's a Fannie. Oh, that's Wanda's house. Wanda's got all the Fannie houses. Fannie Mae, it's hers. She's going to get the listing, right? That's how you sell, 700-800 houses a year. You get them for the banks, right? So we know this. Like you can't argue that this is not like literally we're experts at this. Like there's almost nobody that understands this whole process better than we do, and especially regarding the banks and stuff. But from a market aspect, this is zero. Might as well be no foreclosures.
Right.
I wouldn't even look at this number. I'd look at everything else.
Right. So as Todd says, this is noise, not signal. And we're happy for that. We don't want people's homes to be foreclosed. That's not how we want to get listings. We want to get regular listings. So if you have a house to sell, please consider using our services. We sincerely hope that your house does not get foreclosed.
Yeah, no, we really don't. So anyway, if you like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.
Bye.